Okay, 7th graders lesson 10.3 is on the area of circles. And we talked a little bit about this last year in 6th grade. On some properties of circles. For example, the distance from the center of the circle to the edge is the radius. And the diameter is the distance all the way across the circle through the center. So what's the relationship between the radius and the diameter? What's the radius? How are they related? The radius and the diameter. Caleb? They're, what's half? You use the word half. Which one is half? You said they're half something. No, the radius and the diameter. No, the radius doesn't refer to the half circle. It refers to this line. The distance from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle is called the radius. Okay? So the radius in this one might be 3. If the radius is 3, then what's the diameter? Hear it? 6. Because the diameter is the entire distance across the circle. Okay? So it's not referring to the space or the arc or a half circle. It's referring to the distance across the circle. Okay? Half of the distance is the radius. The entire distance is the diameter. Okay? Now, there's another number you need. And that refers, that's from this symbol. We know that as pi. P-I, that's spelled. And this is the symbol. Do you know where that comes from? You know the number is rounded to 3.14, and that's what you'll usually use when you're using pi. But do you know where that number comes from? It comes from a ratio, or it comes from a division between. It's a Greek letter, yep. You know where it comes from? It comes from the circumference of the circle, the distance around the circle, divided by the circle's diameter. Okay? So in other words, if the circumference is 31.4, if the distance around the circle, you measure the distance around the circle, 31.4 inches, and the diameter is, the diameter would be 10. Okay, and if you divided the circumference by the diameter, you get this ratio. And that's true for every circle. Every true circle has a ratio of 3.14. Okay? So, you can't find the exact area of a circle because that ratio is an irrational number. Okay? Yep, and then it keeps going on and on and on from there. And it never ends. It's infinite. It's an irrational number. So you can't find the exact area when you're finding area of circles. What you have to do if you're asked to, like in your assignment, if you're asked to write down the exact area of the circle, you have to use this symbol. Okay? So, for example, if they give you a radius of 5, and they say, express the exact area of the circle, you have to write it this way. Pi times 5 squared. Or 25 times pi.
Wait.
Okay? You can't write the exact area without using the pi symbol for area. So this is the answer when you're finding the exact area. Okay? If you're finding the rounded or estimated or approximate area, then you use 3.14. And you do 25 times 3.14. And then in your assignment it says round to the nearest tenth. So then round that number to the nearest tenth. Okay? Great.
Wait, so if you were doing it times the diameter, it would just be pi times 25?
If you're given the radius is 5,
But wouldn't it be 5 times 2?
it would be 5, the radius squared, 5 squared times pi.
But does that mean the diameter is the radius squared?
That means the diameter is 10. If the radius is 5, then the diameter is 10. Or if you're given the diameter, then you have to find the radius by dividing the diameter by 2.
But can't you do the diameter times you can't do diameter times pi?
No, because radius squared and diameter are different, aren't they? The radius squared is this number times itself. The diameter is the radius times 2. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, let's go to your assignment. So, the first one gives you a radius of what? Asa? 3. So to find the approximate area, you'd have to take 3. Oops, sorry, we're going to use, this is the symbol for approximate. It's the squiggly equal sign. And we would use 3.14 times 3 squared. Okay? And then write your answer in meters squared. So 3.14 times 9. What's 3.14 times 9? Caleb? 28.26. Which we have to round to what? It's the nearest tenth.
29.3?
The nearest tenth. 28 point, and there's the 10th. 0.3. 28.3. Now, for the exact area, you have to use a symbol. Johnny, can you see past that? Yeah. Good. You have to use a symbol. So we could write 3 squared times the symbol for pi, or simplify that to 9 times the symbol for pi. Okay? No, it's not 28.3. You have to write the exact. No, it's not. 29 is also rounded.
Oh, yeah, it says 28.
You have to leave this as your answer, and that as your label. 9 pi meters squared. Why do you have to use the symbol for pi and not the 3.14?
Because it's not just 3.14, that's not the exact number.
Asa?
How come yesterday's Sam talked about you gotta check it?
They should give,
Yeah, what, the
Check
other
marks
day
for-
you gave saying the check for not raising his hand when he talked.
did he give me the answer? Or was he just talking?
He said he didn't know the answer, so he tried to guess and he got it wrong, but.
Well, I could give them check marks if you think I should. I guess to be fair, I guess you can't, well, you have to be, I'm really only giving warnings to people who are talking to each other or talking, when I'm teaching, I don't want you to talk to each other, okay? There's a little bit of leeway, a little more, I don't know, yeah, a little more leeway when you're offering an answer to class, you're contributing to the class in that way. Okay? Now, if I'm giving people an opportunity to think about the answers and one person is just giving me the answers without constantly raising their hands, then that's not good either, because then nobody else is involved in the answer, in the discussion, because just one person is just dominating all the answers. So there's sometimes when I ask a question and I want you to think, and I want you to raise your hands, okay? There's not an exact line. It's more of a, you have to understand there's kind of a feel for how class should be run. And what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Okay? Does that help you, Asa? Like, you got your warning for dancing and doing dance moves. That's inappropriate while I'm teaching, or when you're supposed to be following along.
Yeah, but when Sam did it, he was following along, he just said the answer, you didn't really check.
I'm not perfect. Maybe he didn't deserve one. I don't remember the exact situation from yesterday. Okay? But the main idea is for our class to run well and for you to have the best opportunity to learn. Okay, great?
And how come I got a check when I tried to tell you the answer? Because you were saying, well, the check marks are for trying to give you the answer unless it's continuously, and I only did it once.
Weren't you talking, you were talking to
No, I
John?
was trying to say the answer to you, and you gave me a check mark.
Yeah, I remember.
That's this morning.
Okay. Well, one check mark is only a warning. There's no consequence for that.
You have to sit on the wall for 5
No, for 2 check marks, it's 5
No.
minutes.
No.
Mr. O makes us do 5
And
minutes.
2 check marks.
So if you get 2, you have to sit for 10.
That's
If you get a key, you sit for 10 and you get 2.
Okay, that's not my intention. My intention is to give you a warning first. Okay, so that's not my rule. My intention is for me to be able to give you a warning without a consequence. Okay? I'll talk to him. But for me to let you know that, hey, I don't want this to continue. Okay? I don't want this behavior to continue. That's what a warning is for. That's why it just says first warning. Okay? There's no consequence. And my intention is that there's no consequence for the first warning. I just don't want it to continue. If it happens again, then after I've warned you, then it's a problem. Then you have to think about it for 5 minutes. Okay? So I will talk to him about that. All right? Johnny?
Well, Ray got a check for going out while going to school next. Has no checks for going out multiple times.
It's because I was looking right at him, and he gave me the answer.
He blurred out around their highways.
You asked a question and then he answered it. But
So should that be a check mark? So that's what you're asking for, is that every time someone makes a noise, that it's a check mark. Do you want me to be that strict? Do you want me to be that strict?
Well, if it makes us stop talking.
But what I was doing was also making you stop talking. Okay? Again, it's not an automatic make a noise, get a check mark.
That's what happened to me.
That was a warning, okay? So it's a warning check mark. Like, so Amelia should have a check mark because she just opened her mouth and said something? And then AJ, and then every time somebody makes a noise, I don't think that's realistic.
But I mean, he's continuous.
He's not continuous. He hasn't said anything in 10 minutes.
More like 2 minutes. Thinking to myself.
So Johnny, I don't want it to be that strict, okay? I don't want you to feel, I don't.
One word and you gotta check.
That was one time.
That was like 3 times.
That's what happened to Sam.
See it?
Everything matters.
I don't want it to be that strict, okay? I don't want you to be afraid to open your mouth, okay? But if I warn you, it means that it's happening too much, okay? That's what the first warning is for, is to communicate to you, okay, I gotta back off, I have to remember to raise my hand because I'm talking too much, all right? Do you understand? Okay. Luke? Oh, somebody has a question about math. Do you have a question about math too?
No, I was gonna say that I'm very confused about that entire rule.
Okay, well let's talk about math, and I can discuss the classroom rules with you later. But let's talk about circles a little more. All right, Luke?
How do you do the diameter? Like, how do you put that in half?
Yeah. Let's first. Let me make sure everyone understands how to write the exact area and the approximate area. Is everybody clear about that?
No. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then raise your hand. Garrett, you have a question?
No. Yeah.
All right. Is it about the math problem? Which one? The first or the second? The approximate area or the equal area?
Both.
The approximate area is using 3.14 for pi. So we multiply 3.14
Dang it.
times the radius squared, and we get 28.26. Do you know how to, are you comfortable up to that point? 3.14 times 3 squared is 28.26, right?
Yes.
Okay, now it says round to the nearest 10th. You understand how we got to the nearest 10th? And the label, so you're comfortable with that one.
Yes.
So it is the equal one.
Yes.
All right. When you have to find the equal area, that's the top line. Then, instead of using 3.14, which is starting with a rounded number, you have to use the symbol and treat it kind of like a variable. The symbol for pi refers to the exact area, or the exact number for pi. 3.1415965, whatever it is. Okay? So we have to use that in our answer because we can't use a rounded number in our answer. So then the most accurate we can get is to square the radius, 3 squared, and then instead of multiplying it by 3.14, we just use that in our answer. We use the pi symbol. What do you mean there is no answer? The answer is 9 times pi. Kind of like if the answer was 5x. Or, for example, when the answer, when we were graphing equations, Garrett, y equaled 3x times 2 plus 2. Okay, that has an x in it. Is that an answer? Yeah, that shows what y equals. Okay, this shows what the area equals, but it's the most exact way to write it because we can't write it as an exact answer. Okay? Maddie?
Can you do number 5?
I will, as soon as I'm done explaining this.
I'm done explaining.
Are you ready to move on? Okay, let's go to number 5. So it starts with the diameter. Well, we can't use the diameter in our area formula. You have to use what? In the area formula, the diameter isn't in there. What is in there? The radius, right? And so, just like in this one, they give us the diameter as 140. What is the radius then? What is half of the diameter? 70 inches, right? We have to do the diameter divided by 2 to get the radius. Then we have to use the radius and use that in our formula. This is the radius, and the radius squared times the symbol for pi is what we use in our answer for the exact answer. Okay? So what is 70 squared? 70 times 70 is 4,900 times pi inches squared. Okay? Number 5, going back to number 5, what would the radius be? The diameter divided by 2. So, Maddie, the radius would be number 5. R equals 8. Yep, good. Garrett. So we use 8 squared times pi, and then simplify that. 64 times pi inches squared. Okay? To find the rounded or approximate area, you would use 64 times 3.14. What's 64 times 3.14? Anyone have that?
Yes, 200.96.
200.96 inches squared. Okay?
No, it's 200.
Oh, I'm sorry. 200.96. So then we'd have to round it to 201.96. So this one is 201 inches squared. Okay? Questions on that one? Are you getting this? Any questions on approximate versus rounded area? How about on the back side? This one has some shapes where you have to find, for example, number 10. Let's go through number 10 real quick. What is this part of the shape?
It's a half
It's a
circle.
half circle. You have to find the area of the circle and then divide it by 2. So the diameter is 8. We have to find half of that. 4. Square it. 16. So the radius is 4. 4 squared times 3.14. And then we have to divide it by 2 to get the half circle. Okay? Once we have the half circle, then we have to find the area of the rectangle and add them together. Great.
Could you just not square 4 and that would be the same as getting it?
I don't think so. Because if we don't square 4, then since it's multiple, I'm not sure. I think we have to square 4 first.
Yeah, you do.
Half circle.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Caleb. No. Then you have to do the rectangle also. You have to find the area of the rectangle. 8 times 12 is 90. Yep. 96. And add that to the half circle. Okay. Any questions? Sam? Yeah, 8 times 12 to get the area of the rectangle. And then you add the 2 together. Yep. Yep. Now, how was class today? Did you feel like you learned it? Was it easier to follow along without all of the distractions?
Sure. I feel like the smartest
Okay.
person in the world. I'm not even in this class.
And I'll talk to Mr. O about not making you sit for the first warning, okay?
Okay.
Because that's not my intention. Okay, no, okay. If that's the case, if he insists on that, then I won't be as strict with I won't be as quick on the first warning. I've been kind of quick on the first warning because I want to kind of cut off, like, it's kind of like a small fire, putting out a small fire versus a big fire. It's much easier to put out a small fire than it is to let it get big and then try to put it out. AJ?
So also, if we get a check one day and then a check, if we get a check in 2 times, we just make it like right out.
Even if it's just one? Maybe I'll talk to you about if it's 2 each day, okay? All right.